I wake with a tongue like sandpaper and air scraping my throat. The red digits on the nightstand glare 1:17 a.m. The kind of red that looks angry no matter what time it is. I'm back in my old room's soft yellow walls from my teenage years. Glow-in-the-dark stars still clinging to the ceiling. A twin bed that feels 2 sizes too small for an adult who pays her own mortgage. Mom's birthday dinner had been exactly on script. The pricey restaurant, the tight smiles, and Camden being Camden. Oak Ridge perfection if you didn't look too closely. I swing my legs out of bed. The floorboard answers with a long groan. Funny how a body remembers the map of creeks even after years away. I tiptoe into the hallway, aiming for the kitchen and a glass of water, when a thin band of gold leaks from under Dad's study door. Odd. He never stays up late. Not after 3 bourbons at Marthelino's. Voices low. Dad's baritone first. Then Camden's higher, smaller voice. The one he used to use when he'd been caught with crumbs on his face. Don't worry, your sister will cover it. Dad murmurs. I stop mid-step. Toes hovering over the next stair. What if she asks about the 65 grand? Camden sounds panicked. His words catch and crack like a kid on the edge of tears. 65,000? Dad slides into his salesman voice, smooth as leather. Charity trusts us. We'll tell her it's a family investment. 12% return. By the time she has questions, we'll have it handled. I lean closer, barely breathing. The crypto margin calls alone are 23. Camden whispers. Sports bets are 19, and the cards are 20,500. Dad finishes as if reciting a grocery list. I know the numbers, son. That's what family is for. Your sister's credit is excellent. This is temporary. Temporary. My stomach flips so hard I press a hand to my mouth. That temporary adds up to more than I bring home in a year after taxes. Camden tries again. But if she enough, Dad snaps, the velvet gone from his tone. She do it. She always does what's right for this family. My legs turn to thread. The water I came for evaporates from my mind. I retrace my steps, avoiding the trader boards. Close my bedroom door without a sound, and sit on the edge of the bed until the room stops tilting. My head tumbles back through the night. Marthelino's linen tablecloths. Mom's insistence on somewhere special for 56. Dad ordering the $120 bottle. Camden holding court about blockchain and passive income. Mom squeezed his arm. Such an entrepreneur, she cooed. Once he hits, he'll hit big. I smiled and nodded because that's my part. When the check came, $287 plus tip, I reached for it automatically. Camden patted empty pockets with a theatrical wince. Man, I'm so broke. I got you next time, sis. There have been 100 next times. Now the pattern sharpens. The family emergency last year that cost me $3,000. The car repair at $2,200. Dad's cash flow hiccup that swallowed $5,000 from my savings. I've been their ATM with a heartbeat. Tonight they're planning the ultimate withdrawal. My hands shake as I lock my door. I dig out my laptop, power it up, and pull my credit report. Relief slips through me, no new accounts. Not yet, I call Chloe. It's nearly 2. She answers hoarse with sleep. Char. They're going to use my name, I whisper, like the walls can hear. They're plotting a loan they'll never repay. The sleep evaporates from her voice. Dad, Camden. I heard everything. They need 65 to plug his holes. Those manipulative bastards, she breathes. What's your move? I stare up at the faint constellation I stuck to the ceiling when I was 12, just ghosts now. I'm done being their bank, I say. And the words stiffen my spine. I open a blank document and title it Financial Self-Defense. By the time the sky fades from charcoal to pewter, I have a checklist. Pretend. I heard nothing until I'm back in Chicago, freeze my credit at all 3 bureaus, change every password. Two-factor authentication across the board, audit every automatic payment, footsteps in the hall. The kitchen clatter that means Mom's pancake ritual has begun. They raised me to be reliable, sensible charity, the one who smooths the water. They didn't plan on me using those same skills to build a damn dot. What would you do if you caught your family planning to turn you into an ATM? For me, the answer is simple. Close the bank. Morning pours through the curtains like warm milk. I force myself downstairs, plate my smile, and sit. Dad rustles the business section. Mom flips pancakes with organized cheer. Camden is Mia, likely nursing last night's bourbon. Morning, honey. A buttered stack lands in front of me. Sleep okay? Fine, I say, stretching my smile over my teeth. Act normal stays top of mind, item 1 on my list. Dad glances up. Your brother could use a little help with his new venture. Something with blockchain? Sounds promising. My coffee goes metallic. Interesting, I mumble, cutting my pancakes into perfect squares. Mom tops off Dad's cup. He just needs a tiny bit of startup capital. You know how these things go? I need to print a few work docs before I hit the road, I say, sidestepping the trap. Okay, if I use your printer? Dad waves me toward the office. The study smells like leather and bourbon. On the printer tray sits a stack of warm pages, Camden's credit card statements. Of course. He's always careless with the boring details. I flip through. Gucci, Nordstrom, MGM Grand, a $1,400 gaming console. Weekend trips I never heard about. The due date is circled in red. In Dad's neat block letters, Char's visit, discuss investment. I am the investment. I restack the pages exactly, return to my room, and log into my bank. A cold fact hits. For 4 years, I've been auto-paying my parents' electricity, internet, and streaming services, just until the dealership evens out, Dad said back then. 4 years. Thousands of dollars. I dial Cousin Jane. Was Camden in Vegas again? She doesn't bother with hello. You didn't know? Every other weekend. He posts on his private Insta. Your parents follow it. Private? Instagram, I repeat. Uncle Victor slips him cash when he can, she adds. Golden boy treatment? Same old story. Golden boy. Memories slam into place. Camden totaling the family car at 16 and Dad laughing. Boys will be boys. Me coming home 10 minutes past curfew and getting grounded for 2 weeks. Chloe pings me links. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, freeze now. She texts, then calls. And I'm filing fraud alerts on your behalf. Already toddling, I say, switching between tabs. And there's more. Mom bragged last night about getting him a bargain. Used car for $13,800. While you drove that dinosaur Honda through college, Chloe snaps. Working 3 jobs. Anger climbs my throat and sits there like a stone. Camden called my job boring when I chose stability. He called his schemes passive income while actively draining everyone around him. A soft knock. Mom slips in with towels. Everything okay, sweetheart? You seem tense. I apply a fresh smile. Just work. She pats my hand. You work too hard. Not like your brother, he knows how to enjoy life. The irony is so sharp I could slice bread with it. When she leaves, I stare at the spreadsheets of my life, the emergency fund built by packing lunch while coworkers ordered out, the condo down payment carved from skipped vacations, the 812 credit score polished by paying on time and saying no. To them, none of it is achievement. It's inventory. I close the laptop. Something solid forms in my chest. Where does helping end and enabling begin? For me, the line was drawn at 1:17 a.m. when I heard my father promise, "Don't worry. Your sister will cover it." 2 days later, I'm cross-legged on my Chicago bed with a shoebox of old photos beside my laptop. The screen wakes. I don't. The pictures do that for me. There I am at 15, grinning around a cheap plastic spelling bee trophy. The high-met smile, night studying till 2 a.m. while Camden's video game soundtrack rattled our shared wall. Mom framed the photo and tucked it in the spare room. Camden's participation ribbons. Front row on the living room mantle. Second place is great, Dad had said, eyes already on the next hill. Maybe next year you'll get first. I flipped to another snapshot, Camden beaming in his NBA-famed bedroom. Makeover, a 55-inch TV, and a custom Lakers bedspread. That same month, Mom and I arranged thrift store furniture in my room. Girls don't need fancy, she'd said. Camden needs motivation. The email pings I've been waiting for roll in. Freeze confirmed TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. Step 1, locked. I set a timer for 7 minutes, the window before my planned video call with my parents. My heart hammers a fast, insistent rhythm. I've rehearsed what to say. Still, my chest feels too small. I think about the DC field trip in 10th grade. While classmates waved permission slips and $480 checks, I cobbled together the fee with grocery shifts, babysitting, and mowing lawns in July heat. When I handed the cash to my history teacher, he blinked. Most parents just pay. That trip showed me I could build my own door if none opened. During senior year, Dad delivered the college talk. We've been saving for Camden's IT degree. You're resourceful. Charity, you'll figure it out. I did partial scholarship. 20 hours a week at the library and campus cafe, instant ramen as a food group. Camden parted through his freshman year at State. I calculated loan payments to the penny. I refreshed my checklist, credit freezes. Fraud alerts, new cards to my Chicago address. Parents removed from every emergency contact. Passwords changed, 2-factor everywhere. And a bright red reminder, cancel all automatic family bills. Would some people confront first and secure later? I chose security. The quiet power of preparation steadies my hands. The call rings. I inhale and click accept. Dad appears first, smile said to charming dealer. Mom settles in beside him, hair coiffed. Camden slouches at the edge of the frame, half a face and a sulk. There's our girl, Dad purrs. I heard you, I say calmly. 2 nights ago. In your study. A flicker crosses his face. Heard what, sweetheart? Your plan to use my credit for a $65,000 loan. The number lands like a gavel. Confusion, shock, calculation, his expressions shuffle in seconds. You misunderstood, he tries. We were discussing a family investment. It would benefit. Stop. The word slices clean. I heard the crypto margin calls for 23. Sports bets for 19. Credit cards for 20,500. Mom's eyes brim instantly. Charity? Family helps family. We raised you to be responsible. You did, I say, meeting her gaze. Which is why I'm being responsible with my money and my boundaries. No cosigning. No loans. No transfers. Camden leans into the frame, cheeks flushing. You've always been selfish. All that cash in Chicago while we struggle, what does that make you? The kind of person who earned what she has, I say, my voice finally climbing. The kind who's done funding your passive income losses. Dad straightens, voice dropping into command mode. Now listen. No, I say, firm and even. You listen. Any attempt to use my identity will trigger a police report. My credit is frozen at all 3 bureaus. I hold my phone up to the camera, emails glowing. And I've canceled the automatic payments I set up 4 years ago, electricity, internet, streaming. You have 2 weeks to arrange your own payments. Mom gasps. You'd let our electricity be shut off? 2 weeks is generous, I reply. Far more generous than planning to open debt in my name at 1 a.m. We weren't stealing, Camden snaps. We were borrowing. Borrowing requires intent to repay, I say. I saw the statements you left in the printer, designer shopping, and Vegas while I pay your utilities. It ends today. Dad's mask slips. His face hardens. After everything we sacrificed for you, what sacrifices? Heat climbs my chest. My thrift store furniture while he got a custom bedroom. My 3 jobs to get to DC while you handed him spending money. Telling me you couldn't help with college because you were saving for his degree. Mom covers her face. Camden storms off. Only Dad remains, searching my face like I've morphed into a stranger. We're your family, he says finally, voice low. You don't turn your back on family. I'm not turning, I answer. I'm standing. You taught me responsibility. I'm applying it to my life. He stabs the disconnect. My phone erupts texts from Camden that pivot from pleading to venom in minutes. I mute the thread and close the laptop. The silence in my room doesn't feel empty. It feels in between space, opening up between who I was and who I'm becoming. Have you ever had to build a wall where a bridge used to be? Chicago is still the same city. I'm not. And this time, I'm choosing me. 3 days pass. The first wave is begging, just this once, family emergency. When I don't bite, the messages curdle. You think you're better than us. Last night, Camden called at 2:18 a.m., slurring. You've always been as selfish. I hung up before he found the final word. This morning, Chloe leans over the partition between our desks. Your brother called me, she says, jaw tight. Told me you've been demanding money for years and your parents are losing the house because of you. He called you at work? My face goes hot. How did he even get your number? I remember Mom at Christmas organizing her contacts. Of course, the campaign escalates. Dad phones my division manager to express concerns about my mental health. Mom posts vague Facebook laments about ungrateful children. Oak Ridge piles on with casseroles of sympathy. Jane texts, heads up Aunt Martha's flying to Chicago. Victor bought the ticket. Aunt Martha calls from O'Hare. Your father says you're having a breakdown. I'm coming to knock sense into you. I'm not home, I lie, watching a pigeon hop onto my balcony rail. Leaving for a business trip. The analyst in me sees the pattern. Discredit, isolate, overwhelm. A hostile takeover of my sanity. So I counter with a plan. Step 1, document. I save every text, voicemail, and post with timestamps. I upload the 1:17 a.m. recording to the cloud. Step 2, boundaries. Email filters shunt family messages to a folder. I open once daily at 5 p.m. with Chloe sitting beside me like a seatbelt. Calls go to voicemail. Step 3, reinforcements. Marissa, my financial advisor, combs through my accounts. They can't touch a dime without your signature, she says. Close any shared accounts. There aren't any, I tell her. She smiles. Smart. Then therapy. Dr. Walsh specializes in family financial abuse, a phrase that lands like a diagnosis. Exploitation often comes from the nearest hands, she says. The backlash from community can be the worst part. I nod. Oak Ridge is humming with the story that I'm hoarding gold while my family starves. Not everyone buys it. Uncle Raymond calls, voice rough. Victor's always played favorites. I warned him. Hold your ground, kid. In week 2, hairline fractures appear at no narrative. Jane reports Camden working mornings at the gas station and nights at the pizza place. My parents cancel their anniversary cruise. A woman texts from an unknown number, Becky Miller, Camden's high school girlfriend. He tried to take my credit last year too. Glad you're protecting yourself. Each boundary makes the next easier. The guilt is still there, quieter now. like a radio in another room I don't have to listen to. That night, I blocked Camden's newest number. I sleep for 7 hours straight, for the first time since this began. I wake feeling like I'm not just surviving, I'm winning. The phone rings again that Sunday afternoon. And this time, it's Pastor Williams, his tone oozing the kind of syrupy concern that makes my teeth ache. Charity. He begins softly. Your parents are worried about your spiritual welfare. Family is God's greatest blessing. You shouldn't let money drive you apart. I close my eyes and count to 10, tracing invisible circles on the countertop. Pastor, did my father also mention the part where they plan to commit identity theft in my name? Or just the ungrateful daughter version? A pause long enough to measure a heartbeat. Well, your father simply said there were financial misunderstandings. Would that be the $23,000 crypto losses, the $19,000 in sports bets, or the $20,500 in credit card debt? My voice is calm, clinical silence again. Then I mumbled, perhaps I should speak with him further. Perhaps you should, I say, and hang up. That makes manipulation attempt number 14 on my spreadsheet. I log it beside the others. First came the daily guilt calls, then the vague Facebook posts, and now they're recruiting the clergy. It would almost be impressive if it weren't so exhausting. The building intercom buzzes. Who's Carter? It's Frank, the doorman. Your brother's downstairs. Says it's a family emergency. My stomach knots. Please tell him I'm unavailable. If he refuses to leave, call security. Yes, ma'am. I'm still trembling when the next email notification slides across my screen. From Dad, subject, legal action for family support. Attached, a PDF letter threatening to sue me under filial responsibility laws. It's amateurishly formatted. Half-bolded text and legal jargon pulled from Google. But the message is clear. Obey or be punished. My phone vibrates again, Mom's number. Against every instinct, I play the voicemail. Charity, honey. Her voice trembles with rehearsed sorrow. They're shutting off our electricity tomorrow. It's freezing here. Your father says it's your fault because you canceled the payments. We raised you better than this? A single sob, click. I stand at the window, 16 stories up, watching people hurry across the Chicago streets below. They have no idea how betrayal sounds when it's whispered through love. It's quiet, calculated, chilling. Then the doorbell, my private one. Through the peephole, Camden sways in the hallway, jaw tight, eyes bloodshot. He pounds on the door. I know you're in there. You can't hide forever. I flatten my back against the wall, forcing my breath steady. I've called security, Camden. Leave now. After everything we've done for you. His words slur. He's been drinking. One loan, that's all we needed. The elevator dings. 2 security guards step out, their voices firm. Sir, you need to leave immediately. Camden curses under his breath, but lets himself be escorted away. When the door finally shuts, I slide to the floor, knees pulled to my chest. It's a posture I haven't taken since childhood, back when hiding from Camden's tantrums was the safest option. But I'm not that scared little girl anymore, and I'm done hiding. The next morning, I walk into Sarah Klein's downtown office, leather portfolio clutched like a shield. Inside, printed emails, text screenshots, transcribed voicemails, and the recording from that night. Sarah adjusts her glasses and flips through the evidence. They're escalating, she says. Showing up at your building, contacting your workplace, that's harassment. I want to cease and desist, I tell her. And I want the recording included. She looks up, eyebrows raised. That's nuclear charity. Once it's out, there's no going back. They left me no choice, I reply evenly. I've tried silence, reason, distance. None of it worked. They're destroying my name back home. This is the only language they'll understand. 2 days later, the certified letters go out, one to each parent, one to Camden, each stamped, dated, and signed for. Inside the envelope, a comprehensive timeline of financial manipulation, a legal warning against further harassment, an AUSB drive containing the late-night recording. The fallout is immediate. The phone rings before noon. "How dare you?" Kat's voice explodes through the speaker. "After everything we've done for you, we gave you everything." "You gave Camden everything," I answer quietly. "You taught me to work for what I wanted, and now I'm protecting what I've built. We're your family," he shouts. "Family doesn't plan identity theft between drinks," I reply. "You're angry I won't be your bailout. That's not betrayal, that's boundaries." His breathing shifts, slow and furious. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly," I say and hang up. Minutes later, Mom calls. Her tone is sharp enough to cut glass. "Why should you have more than your brother? What makes you so special?" For a heartbeat, I can't speak. Then it lands, the truth I'd been circling for months. It was never about helping Camden. It was about punishing me for doing better. "I'm not special," I say. "I just worked harder and I made different choices." The next day, Uncle Raymond calls. His voice is rough but amused. Victor looked like he'd seen a ghost at church. "That recording, well, let's just say people finally believe you." "About time," I murmur. He chuckles. "Jane says Aunt Martha tried to defend Camden at the potluck. Got so flustered she dropped her Jell-O mold." I can't help but laugh. The sound feels foreign in my mouth, but lighter somehow. 2 weeks later, the updates start trickling in. Camden's credit collapses. Every card closed. His loan application's denied. Dad cashes out part of his retirement fund, early withdrawal penalties and all. The family home, once debt-free, now carries a brand new mortgage. Their empire of entitlement finally cost them something. Meanwhile, my accounts are untouched. My savings solid. My credit perfect. My boundaries still. One final email arrives from Camden. No accusations. No demands. Just 12 simple sentences that begin with "You were right" and end with "I'm sorry." I don't answer. Some lessons only land when the silence stretches long enough to echo. Standing by my window, Chicago glowing below me, I think about all the years I tried to earn their approval. Would they ever have learned if I hadn't drawn the line? No, they'd have kept pulling, taking, draining. Because people who see you as a resource never stop until you stop them. And I finally have. The Colorado mountains rise outside my new apartment like watchful sentinels, peaks dusted in late spring snow. It's been 8 months since I left Illinois, and the distance feels wider than miles. It feels like another lifetime. My real estate agent called yesterday with the closing figures from my Chicago condo. "Your sale cleared for $383,400, she said cheerfully. "After the mortgage and costs, you're netting just over $28,000. $28,000 that belongs entirely to me. For once, I don't feel compelled to justify where it will go or who it might help. It's not family emergency money. It's mine. My phone buzzes with a message from Valerie, one of the women I met in the support group for adult children of toxic families. It's still on for hiking tomorrow. Forecast looks perfect. I smile, thumbs tapping a reply. Wouldn't miss it. Need to break in my new boots. These people, Valerie, Aaron, Josh, are my real family now. They give freely, without expecting repayment. They celebrate my wins without twisting them into obligations. It's a language I didn't even know existed until now. Every Tuesday evening, I still meet with Dr. Winters, my therapist in Denver. At our last session, she asked, "Do you still check your credit every day?" I smiled. "Weekly now." Her eyes softened. "That's progress, Charity." "And the nightmares?" "Gone," I said honestly. though I keep all my documents in a fireproof safe. Some habits are survival, she replied. The question is whether they're driven by fear or by wisdom. That line stuck with me. These days, every decision passes through that filter. Am I saying no because I'm afraid, or because it's the right boundary? Am I saving because I expect disaster, or because I respect stability? Today marks a new chapter. I stand in a multi-purpose room of the Denver Community Center, a box of handouts on personal finance stacked beside me. Folding chairs line up in messy rows, and a whiteboard behind me reads, Financial Freedom 101, Protecting Yourself and Your Credit. I glance at the attendees' 20 faces. Most older than me, eyes full of the same uncertainty I once carried. I'm not a financial advisor, I begin. I'm just someone who learned independence the hard way. For the next 90 minutes, I break down credit scores, debt traps, and emergency funds in plain language. People nod, scribble notes, ask questions. But it's the young woman in the back, no older than 20, who stops me cold. If my parents can't pay their credit card, she asks softly, do I have to pay it for them? The air stills. No, I answer firmly. If your name isn't on it, you're not responsible. Your job is to protect yourself. Her shoulders drop, and I watch the relief spread across her face. I recognize it. It's the same exhale I took the day I realized I wasn't legally, morally, or emotionally bound to their chaos. After class, she lingers. My dad says if I don't help, I'm ruining the family. She whispers. I hand her one of the small business cards I printed last month. It reads, protecting your wallet is the first step to protecting your heart. Family shouldn't cost you your future. I tell her gently, call me if you mean to talk. 2 days later, an email lands in my inbox from an unfamiliar address, Camden, no manipulation. No guilt, just 12 measured sentences that begin with, I'm sorry, and end with, I'm in therapy now. I'm working 2 jobs and repaying what I owe. He mentions alcohol counseling. A debt plan. No demands. No guilt-laced hugs. For a moment, I just stare at the words. Then I type my reply carefully. Thank you. I need time. Boundaries stay. Forgiveness, if it comes, will take the long way around. But for the first time, his message doesn't reopen a wound. It feels like a quiet closing instead. Our occasional check-ins are transactional updates about his progress. No talk of money, no requests. It's not reconciliation, not yet, but it's peace and progress. That afternoon, I returned to the community center to find an envelope on my desk. Inside is a folded note written in blue pen. I froze my credit and told my parents no. It was the hardest and best thing I've ever done. Thank you. It's signed by the same young woman from the workshop. My eyes blur as I trace the ink with my fingertip. I whisper the truth that took me 30 years to learn. Protecting your money isn't selfish, it's sacred. Outside, the late sun turns the Rockies gold. I stand on the balcony and watch the light stretch across the horizon, realizing something that feels almost holy. I'm not just free from my family's control. I'm free to become the woman I was always meant to be, the version of me who doesn't apologize for boundaries, the version who teaches others that saying no can be the most generous act of self-preservation, the version who no longer mistakes obligation for love. For the first time in my life, I'm not afraid of standing alone because I finally understand I'm standing tall.